Formidable Nigerians as my guest as we move along on the conversation on the future of Nigeria. They require very little or no introduction. I have here with me Aisha Yesufu, a social media influencer and political activist. Aisha, you are welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And also we have the presidential candidate of African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore. You're welcome.
Thank you very much for bringing me.
Thank you so much. So the first question as we open this conversation is, what do you think about the current trajectory of the country? As it is today, do you think that we are going in the right direction? Let's start with Aisha.
I don't even know where to start from that question because there's no country anymore. As we are today, Nigeria is gone. What we have is a carcass, and life is short and brutish, and everyone, we're all on edge. We are the victimhood that a lot of people refuse to see coming to us. We are all there. And unfortunately, we do not have a president. We have someone who rigged his way into office, an illegitimate president, and who doesn't care. And of course, anyone who is ready to do anything, you know, snatch it, run with it, and all of that to get into office, they don't care about the people. They don't care. There's no empathy. And that's what we're seeing today. And Nigeria has gotten into a place where you're not even sure that you're going to see the next day because you might be a victim, might be taken away even from inside your own house. And that's where Nigeria is right now.
Okay, so as an opening statement, yeah, sure.
Well, you know, you asked about trajectory and if we are going in the right direction. And I say we are not going in any direction. That's the biggest problem. You can only tell about direction if there is, you know, from a geographical point of view, there's any kind of movement. Here you see a lot of motion, there is no movement. And if there's any movement at all, it's a movement that is going backwards. And Nigerians, or Nigeria, is paying heavily for both their decisions and their indecisions. Their decisions in deciding, for those who decided in this trajectory, and the indecision of those who did nothing. And that's why you cannot say, and I agree with Aisha, that you have a country today. We've never had a nation. I've argued this all the time, that Nigeria was never a nation. It was a transaction from the beginning. And that next step is what we haven't been able to make because we never also have had the kind of leaders that are visionary, that are capable of driving you in the right direction since I have been a Nigerian, which is 1971.
Well, okay, I mean, so it's a very nice way to get into it. Now, let's get deeper into the issues, you know. So, Aisha, there is the notion, you know, that of the rule of law, okay? Now, even though we can always point to challenges, because you did say that the president is illegitimate. Now, after the Supreme Court has ruled, you know, you still don't accept that in the circumstances you have a sitting president in the eye of the law, even with whatever problems we have with that?
I think to answer your question, you saw the last ruling that happened of the governors and the Supreme Court and how everybody was praising Mr. Tinubu for the fact that he didn't interfere and they were able to retain that tells you everything. And as I'm sitting down here today, I'm quite sort of like taken aback that the Supreme Court didn't see how that made them to look. Because right now what we know, and that's the secret, or the open secret, that the courts are no longer the last resort of the common man. They are now like the plaything of corrupt politicians. And these corrupt politicians, they don't care, and they're saying it, they say it openly. We've seen all of that. We saw the Senator Bukatuwa, what he said. And so it's not about me accepting it or not accepting it. It's what it's on ground. Rule of law is sacrosanct, and it's supposed to be on everybody. Right now, we've seen the different kind of decisions that have been made by the courts. So the way it goes, the court itself, there's no independence. We have judiciary capture, we have media capture, everything there seems to be, even the legislative capture, it's under sort of like one party, one person doing whatever they want to do with it. And at the end of the day, every Nigerian is suffering. There's something many people say. They say Nigerians don't react. That no matter how much you push Nigeria to the walls, they don't react. They say Nigerians are reacting. The people who are killing They are reacting. That's their own form of protest. Their own is an illegal form of protest because the legal form of protest, they've clamped down on it. They've stopped people from doing that. And every one of us is suffering because there are some people who no longer see any hope. Because when you go to the courts, and if you see a lot of people that have given up on the nation, they know even when they go to the courts, they won't get anything. So they take the laws into their hands. And the rest of us that are law-abiding are the ones who are being punished by the state. The Nigerian state would rather, have a conversation with you, negotiate with you when you carry arms against the country. But when you are law-abiding, it clamps on you, it kills you, and it just disposes of you the way it wants to.
Interesting. Okay, so let me take it to Sowore. Basically, both of you have the same view. Not that I'm surprised, but it makes it quite exciting. So, what is the way out? Is there a legitimate path, out of this trajectory? I'm going to start with Sowore and then we'll come to Aisha.
I think any way that saves people from the doom and destruction that has become their lot is legitimate. And I say this so that people are very clear about where I stand on Nigerian issues. Earlier, I agree with Aisha that there is no country. Where I disagree or differ from them and their party was their own brazen hope, I call it brazen, that the judiciary was somehow going to deliver differently in the 2023 election, because it has been very clear from the election, from the primaries at the party's level, the conduct of INEC, that they were not planning an election. So when the elections were over and there was this eye on the judiciary, I was wondering which eye, which judiciary are you eyeing? Because I understand the judiciary right from my university days. I have been expelled, went to court, judges did not deliver justice. So, but where I agree with her is the issue of legitimacy. You see, something can be legal and be legitimate. A human being can be born as a legal human being, but the process of birth might be legitimate if it doesn't go through what is legit. So I agree with her that you have a right to reject a system or a precedent that did not come legitimately, as it's been decided by, or ought to have been decided by the rule of law. But we're not dealing with a country that respects any laws. The laws here are like cobwebs. They are only meant for ants. And, the elephants walk past them without even knowing them. So it's a country that is created for two categories of citizens. And that is why I have always advocated, and I'm never afraid to say that something massive, something urgent, and something revolutionary must happen in Nigeria for us to change course. This course will continue, They have already rigged even the next election if we go by how they have populated INEC already. In the US, where you and I spent some years, if one person was going to the Supreme Court, the country will shut down. There will be conversations. They'll go and look at where he was standing when he was in primary one. If he was backing the flag or he was in front of it, if he plucked somebody's coconut, if he took somebody's eraser. Here in this country, there were over 11 Supreme Court judges that were just smuggled into the Supreme Court, and nobody talked about it. In fact, the media did not talk about it. The public are not aware. Nobody knows who these new judges are. Nobody did any background checks on them.